Guys, it's me, Nina, and today I have my October wrap-up. That was a little annoying, yeah. So, I read 7 books in the month of October, which, I mean, it's a good number, but I was really aiming to do like 10. So I'm kind of disappointed in myself. I was doing really well at the beginning of the month. I tried to like keep reading like 100 pages a day, and sometimes I exceeded that. But then towards the end of the month, I was like reading like 5 pages a day, and so like it declined. Anyway, let's just get into this. So the first book I read this month was Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. So this was pretty popular when it first came out. It's an adult fiction novel, and it was popular because, like, can you tell? Can you tell? It's about Scooby fucking Doo. I love Scooby-Doo, and that's the reason I picked this up. I've wanted to pick this up since it came out. My library's had it, but like, I don't know. It was in the adult fiction section, and I always just like hesitate to pick up adult fiction because like I'm more like the YA. I like that stuff. But I ended up picking this up, and I really enjoyed it. The first, I would say, first 100 pages, it took me a while to get into it. I was like, oh, I should just quit. But I'm glad I didn't DNF it because I loved it. Like, after everything else, like, I loved it. After I got through those 100 pages and marched on, I was really into this book. It is focusing on the gang after they've grown up. And Peter, which is AKA Fred, has passed away, and so it's really just I'm gonna go by their like Scooby-Doo names because it's just easier to understand. Shaggy, Velma, and Daphne, and then the dog, which is obviously hasn't lived that long, I guess, and so it's like the son of the dog, like a new dog. But it's them, and they kind of go back, they reconnect because they've grown apart, and they reconnect and they go back to their old hometown to uncover this mystery that has bothered them since they were young kids and find out the truth. And the truth is there really is a monster, and it's not somebody just like in a mask. Like, there is a monster. So it's really interesting. I mean, in areas I think it could have been better, but like I really enjoyed it, and I liked the take it took on them after they like got old. Like, it didn't let back. It wasn't just like, oh yeah, everybody's happy and everything. Like, no, they're messed up, man. They're messed up. I mean, can we talk about this cover art though? Like, just the cover art gives you Scooby-Doo vibes. The green and purple with the orange, like, that is screaming Scooby-Doo. And I love those colors together. They are so perfect. And then, like, the gang, like, all together, like, that's pretty dope. Like, that is probably my favorite thing about the book. I loved it. Okay, anyway, let's move on. So next we have a book called Find Me by Romalie Bernard. So this was on my top 10 most anticipated TBR that I owned video quite a while ago. I'll link that down below. But it took me forever to pick this up, and I don't know why. A lot of times I don't read the ones that I own because I just really want to read the ones from my library. So like, I know, it doesn't make sense. But anyway, I finally picked this up, and because I bought this because the cover and the title was bomb. I thought like someone was kidnapped and, you know, we're dealing with killers or something. It wasn't really what I was expecting, but it was still pretty awesome. So this girl, her old friend commits suicide, and she finds her journal, and inside of it says, "Find me," and it kind of leads her to suspect that there's a person that either killed her or had pushed her so far that she killed herself. And so she kind of like goes on this hunt to find out who this person is, who could hurt her so badly that she would commit suicide or that she was murdered. And our main character is a hacker, so she like digs into the cyber world to find out everything she can and put the pieces together. And it really goes on this adventurous hunt, and it really gave me a thrill at some points, but it wasn't as good as I was expecting. I really did enjoy, like, the ending. Like, the last, like, 50 pages was, like, really awesome. Like, I was like, okay, it's finally getting good. But it was, like, the last 50 pages. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't thrilling enough for me. And it wasn't Like, I didn't feel as much suspense as I was hoping to feel. Then we have No One Else Can Have You by Kathleen Hale. Ooh, look at this. It looked like a cutesy cover, and then, like, it's not when you look closer, because that moose is hanging by its neck. This opening of the story really reeled me in. So the opening of the story, and I'm not spoiling anything because it's the first, like, 2 pages, they find a girl in a field, and the girl's mouth was shoved, like hay was shoved into it and then sewn shut like a scarecrow, and she was hanging, and it was, like, really disturbing, and I was like, that's what I want to read. Like, that's the good stuff. I'm not trying to be, like, insensitive. I just really like reading creepy things. Like, if I watched a movie and I went into detail with that shit, like, no, I couldn't do it. But, like, I really like reading detailed graphic stuff. Anyway, this, opened really good, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a serial killer. Like, this is gonna be awesome. But anyway, it deals with her best friend, and again, the best friend reads the diary of the murdered girl. And she finds out, like, her best friend wasn't really her best friend, because her best friend talks a lot of shit about her in this. And so, like, I didn't quite understand it, because at the end she was still like, oh yeah, she's my best friend. Like, my best friend said half this shit, I'd be like, bye? Like, go? Like, you're not my friend if you're saying this stuff about me. But anyway, that's not the point. I felt like it could have been better. I think this is, like, a series. It could be a standalone, like, you could read it as a standalone, which I'm going to do, because my library doesn't have the second one, I don't believe. But I believe there is a second one to this. Anyway, she kind of goes on her own detective hunt and decides to try and find who murdered her friend. The police believe that they have the killer, but she is certain that he didn't do it. And so she's trying to find out who really did do it, and just, it could have been better. That's, like, really all I have to say. It was okay. I really loved the opening pages. The ending was pretty good. Everything in between was Moving on to my favorite read this month, we have The Killing Lessons. And I'm sure you guys are all sick of hearing me talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it one more time. So I already have a book talk on this on my channel. If you'd like to watch it, I'll link that down below. I also have a Goodreads review. I don't think I went too in depth with my Goodreads review, but it's up there if you want to check on my Goodreads. My Goodreads is linked below as well. But anyway, this deals with a serial killer, and I love reading that crap. So this cover is amazing, in my opinion. I love the white with the black, and it's in like this forest. It gives you creepy feels. And then there's blood dripping on the sides. The title is enticing. The picture is eye-catching, and it's very simplistic, and that's like good. Like, you don't want to overwhelm it, and that he did this very well. Anyway, deals with this two partners, two serial killers. And you get 3 different perspectives. You get the victims, the detectives, and the serial killer's perspectives. And so it really brings the book all together and shows you every side you could possibly want. And we're dealing with a psycho serial killer who really has some issues dealing with his past. We're dealing with strong, kick-ass victims. And we're dealing with a nutty detective who has some serious issues going on, but she's strong-willed and, like, blows my mind. The women in these, the women characters in this book are really amazingly portrayed. I really enjoyed reading such strong-willed women. So I'll give it that. I won't go into any more detail about really what happens because I don't want to spoil anything, and I already had a book talk, so. Then we have Last Scene Leaving by Caleb Rowerin. This was okay. The title, the cover, the title's pretty good. I just wasn't a fan of the cover. You can tell it's YA just by the cover. This girl goes missing, and she is believed to be murdered or as such. And so her boyfriend tries and becomes the little detective and goes on this little hunt and see who took her, who killed her, and such. And then another girl gets killed. And so we're going on this hunt to find out who really did it. And I mean, it was good, but it wasn't my favorite. I loved the ending. I thought the ending was pretty good. And that's all I'm going to say about it, because I feel like that's a good enough synopsis. Then we have All the Truth That's in Me by Julie Berry. I was disappointed in this, okay? So I thought this was going to be really creepy because, like, look at this cover. She looks like a zombie or a demon or something. I should have guessed by her clothing, but I didn't. It is, like, historical fiction. Like, it's not in our time. So, and I don't like reading that. This wasn't as bad as I expected it to be after I read some and knew that it was going to be historical fiction. But this girl was kidnapped, and she watched her best friend get killed. And her tongue is cut out so she can't speak, and she is returned to the village. And now everybody in the village believes that, you know, whoever took her raped her, so she, like, her womanhood is destroyed, and, like, she's less of a person because of that. And since she's deformed now because she can't speak, they also treat her badly. So, like, there's, like, no sympathy for her. Like, no one cares that what she was put through. They're all like, oh, you're lesser than me now. And it's, like, really heartbreaking. But she does find a friend and a little some side action. But she prevails through all those challenges, and she finds a friend, and she kind of practices how to speak, and she kind of tells her story, and we also go on this hunt of, like, through her mind, what really happened, who took her, why did he do this, why would he return her and not the other girl. And it's kind of crazy. I didn't necessarily like the writing style, and I didn't really like that it was historical fiction, but I mean, the plot itself was good. Just for my personal reading taste, it could have been better. Last book I have to share with you is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. I really enjoyed this. I was, like, ready for some kick-ass assassin moves, and that's not what took place. Like, this book, she's already in, like, this death camp, pretty much, because of her assassin ways, and she was caught, or whatever. And I thought I didn't know what this book was about. I knew she was an assassin, that was it. And so I thought, like, it was gonna take us, and, like, we were gonna kill some people, and that's what I was ready for. But she's already, like, an assassin in this, so it was, like she was already caught. And so, anyway, it goes with this prince is taking her out of the death camp to compete in a competition to be the king's assassin, the king's competitor or champion, whatever. So she has to compete in these tests and stuff, and then at the end compete in a final duel. And while this is going on, there's some, like, magic happening, and people are ending up killed, and she's trying to find out what is really happening. And then she has, like, some love interest, you know, the whole shindig. I enjoyed it, I liked it, and I'm going to continue with the series, but it wasn't what I was expecting, and wasn't as bomb.com as I was expecting either. So, I mean, this had a lot of hype. So, I mean, I'm hoping the series gets better. I really did enjoy this. I would give it a 4 stars, but I was just expecting more. That is all I have for you today. I hope you have a wonderful day. Don't forget to check out everything that I have linked below. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye!